Hi guys, I hope you're all well. I hope you've enjoyed the 31 days of Halloween. We're coming to the end now. Last few videos, last few days. Before I start my video today, I'd like to give a big up to Tracy. She has worked absolutely her fingers to the bone doing this 31 days of Halloween, and I take my hat off to her. She is really pulled out all the stops this Halloween. I hope you all appreciate and have enjoyed the content. There's been something for everyone, hopefully. So thank you, Tracy, and it's been a pleasure working with you. Right, today we're going to be talking about the New Orleans and the custom of above ground burial and whether it's the folklore and the fact. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I hope it's something that might interest you. It certainly made me think a lot about how just people are and how different people are in America. Anyway, going down a rabbit hole there. So anyway, let me start. The custom of above ground burial in New Orleans is a mixture of folklore and fact. New Orleans is certainly not the only city with a high water table, but it has 90%, the largest percentage of above ground burials. New Orleans' first formal cemetery, the St. Peter Street Cemetery, was located in what is now the French Quarter, which Tracy absolutely loves. I think it's the French Quarter she likes. According to accounts of the time, all the deceased were buried in the ground. Accounts of the time also stated that when the graves were dug, they frequently filled up with water, resulting in watery graves. When St. Peter Street Graveyard was closed to a capacity, city officials established St. Louis Cemetery at the time on Esteban Miro. I'm sorry if I've murdered that name. Was the governor of New Orleans, and his allegiance to Spain, therefore. When the St. Louis Cemetery was developed, the wall vault system that was popular in Spain at the time was adopted for those who wished to be buried stylishly above ground. But ground burials also continued at St. Louis Cemetery. Following a series of nasty epidemics in the early 1830s, which were often blamed on noxious... Oh God, that's disgusting. Which were often blamed on noxious fumes emitted by corpses, the city council passed an ordinance requiring all funeral burials to take place on the land purchased on the bayou. My Englishness coming out. The Bayou St. John. But an important example was made. Burials could continue at the existing cemeteries if they were in tombs and vaults and existed above ground structures. This fortified the tradition of above ground burials in New Orleans. Even today, in the Metairie Metairie Cemetery, which is on high ground by New Orleans standards, 90% of burials are above ground. However, in the Jewish section of the Material Cemetery, most burials are ground burials in keeping with culture and traditions, which I found really interesting, because this might seem like a stupid question, but if the corpses were in the ground, were making a really bad smell, and noxious smell, is what they said. Then surely burying people above ground in a tomb, I suppose the tomb could be sealed up completely and you wouldn't be able to smell anything, but surely there would still be smells, rotting corpses smells, which is pretty gross at the best of times. But it's really hard. I mean, me and Trace were talking about this. It's really hard for me to get my head around this because we don't really have anything like this. Maybe in London for the posher people and around St Paul's Cathedral and stuff like that. But obviously where I'm from, up north in Manchester and down here in Cornwall, people just are buried in the ground or cremated. They're the really only two options you have here. I mean, anyone from the UK who knows different, I would really, really like to hear what you've got to say in the comments. But yeah, it's just crazy. 90%, the largest percentage of above ground burials. That's crazy. I mean, I'm not familiar with the cemeteries like St Peter's Street Cemetery and the St Louis Cemetery. Tracy would probably be able to give us more information. I think this is just dipping my toe in. I think there's a podcast here. I think once once Easter's over, once Halloween's over, maybe we could look at this more in depthly and maybe do a podcast on it because it's really, really interesting. Tracy absolutely loves New Orleans, and if I ever manage to visit her in the States, it's one of the places that we're not that far in Texas, really. No, we're not that far, really. Yeah, there's lots and lots of folklore and other stuff that's going on, and I think it would be a place that I would really, really like to visit. I mean, I've only really seen it on films like Interview with a Vampire, and I can't think of any more, but American Horror Story, that was filmed in New Orleans in the lady's house. Well, she definitely wasn't a lady, who was really, really torturing slaves, and there was all sorts of occult things going on there, which wasn't really fun at all. But like I say, I would really love to visit. It would be an absolutely really interesting, even visiting, I know this probably sounds a bit dark, but for someone who's never seen or experienced this above ground burials, I think just a walk around the cemeteries would be interesting in itself. Forget all the rest of it. Yeah, I think it would be really, really interesting. Anyway, guys, I'm waffling on here. Like I said before, we're coming to the end of our 31 days of Halloween. I've really enjoyed doing it. Thank you for everybody who sent stuff in, Carly and the other people, Mad Meerkat. We do appreciate everything, and hopefully our little community can grow a little bit more over next year, and we'll have even more people when we get to Halloween next year. Anyway, guys, you stay safe. God bless. Look after each other, and I will talk to you all again soon.